The mysteries and the understandings, the revelation that I show you guys is so abundant. There's so much confirmation that it is impossible for all of this to be a gigantic coincidence. So let's go through this real quick so I can talk about something. We know that 20 plus 25 is 45 for the year 2025. And then you take 45 and times it by 45 and it's 2025. Elijah, Enoch, two pictures of our rapture, both equal 45 in simple gematria. And Daniel, who talks all about the Antichrist and Jacob's trouble, equals 45 as well in simple gematria. Then, what I'm going to talk about again, my most recent find, is Psalms 45, which is a picture of a royal wedding, commonly believed to be a picture of the Messiah and his bride. That's in Psalms 45, guys. And we just saw what 45 is all about. The raptures, the Antichrist, and the year 2025. And then, of course, Genesis chapter 45, you have the great deliverance 2 years into the 7-year famine, which 2 years into this last 7 years, you come to the 3rd year, which is, can you guess, 2025. Psalm 45 is considered a royal wedding song, celebrating the beauty and power of a king, often interpreted as a metaphor for God or the Messiah and his bride, guys. Man, it's right here. Depicting a union of great joy and righteousness with the imagery of a royal wedding ceremony and the king's triumphant reign. It is primarily focused on praising the king's attractiveness, strength, and just rule, as well as the beauty of his bride. Now, if this was it, in Psalms 45, that would be absolutely mind-blowing, considering what I just showed you about 45. But you guys, this is not it. Because the very next chapter, Psalms 46, is about Jacob's trouble right after the wedding of the Messiah and the bride. And what is 46? 20 plus 26 for 2026. Psalm 46 doesn't explicitly mention Jacob's trouble. The phrase, the God of Jacob, appears within the psalm, which is often interpreted as a reference to God's protection and presence with the Israelites, even during times of great difficulty, which could be seen as a parallel to the concept of Jacob's trouble. Right after Psalms 45, the wedding, guys. A period of significant hardship for the Jewish people. Therefore, the psalm can be understood as offering comfort and assurance during times of trouble, aligning with the idea of Jacob's trouble. It's unbelievable to me where we are. I mean, can we really fathom how it is going to be raptured? Not only for us that are raptured, but for everybody else. Read Psalms 46. Complete destruction, guys. Complete desolation. I mean, the reality, to me, I'm like, yeah, I know. But people don't know. It's surreal, but it's unbelievable.
Torah is just a long string of numbers. Some say that it's a code sent to us from God.
That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's just kid stuff. Check this out, okay? The word for the Garden of Eden, Kedem. Numerical translation, 144. Now the value of tree of knowledge, all right, in the garden, right? Eitz HaChaim, 233. 144, 233. Now you can take those numbers. So
like the Fibonacci sequence?
Fibonacci
is an Italian mathematician in the 13th century. If you divide 144 into 233, the result approaches theta.
Theta?
Theta. The Greek symbol for golden ratio, golden spiral.
Wow. I never saw that before. That's like that series you find in nature? Like the face of a sunflower?
Wherever the spirals.
You see this math everywhere.
And when we enter this physical body, we have the spiral right here at the top of the head where the spirit entered. And when that spirit entered, we let out that cry. These spiral markings are also found on the fingertips. And so it is that the markings are here, and these are our identification markings.
No, that was a good-sized twister. What was that, an F3?
Solid F2.
See, now you've lost me again.
It's the Fujita scale. It measures the intensity of a tornado by how much it eats.
Eats?
Destroys.
Little encounter we had back there is a strong F2, F3 maybe.
Bet we see some F4s today.
That'd be sweet.
4 is good. 4 will relocate your house fairly efficiently.
Is there an F5? What would that be like?
The finger of God.
Behold, the whirlwind of the Lord goes forth with fury, a continuing whirlwind. It shall fall with pain on the head of the wicked. Jeremiah 30:23. And it came to pass, as they still went on and talked, that behold, there appeared a chariot of fire and horses of fire, and parted them both asunder, and Elijah went up by a whirlwind into heaven. Then the Lord answered Job out of the whirlwind, and said, Who is this that darkeneth counsel by words without knowledge? Gird up now thy loins like a man, for I will demand of thee, and answer thou me, where wast thou when I laid the foundations of the earth? Declare, if thou hast understanding, who hath laid the measures thereof, if thou knowest, or who hath stretched the line upon it? Whereupon are the foundations thereof fastened? Or who laid the cornerstone thereof? When the morning stars sang together, and all the sons of God shouted for joy. Something that I did not know about the word whirlwind in the Hebrew actually also means rolling thing or a wheel. That is something that I did not realize, is that the word whirlwind doesn't just mean like a tornado, but it means wheel. And we just read about a rolling object also. A rolling object. So we see God appearing in a whirlwind, Elijah taken in the whirlwind, right? But we think of a tornado, but it means more than that, a wheel. Now, the other place that I see something like this in my mind is modern day UFO phenomenon, the saucers, right? The wheels. And you even look at them, they're wheels within wheels, like in Ezekiel chapter 1, kind of, right? Now, this might not be the only type of heavenly technology, but I believe it is definitely a piece to the puzzle. And I believe that what has been sold to us is that all of this is bad stuff. But the people who are using it got it from fallen angels, and the angels got it from heaven, this knowledge and technology. And we see God appearing in a whirlwind, which means a wheel, a rolling object. Okay. So if this is the case, then both sides, good and bad, are using the same technology, and that makes perfect sense because that's where Lucifer and the other angels would be getting this from, right? So I think that people are a little off when they say that they're all bad, right? Because we know that there's both sides, but they have the same technology. And God even appears in a whirlwind. A whirlwind means wheel. So this is just something that I was thinking about, because we all think that they are going to tell the world that it was a UFO abduction when the rapture happens. And, looking at this, maybe UFOs will appear. What we believe to be UFOs or flying saucers, maybe they will appear, and we will be caught up in a whirlwind, which means a wheel, right? A rolling object. What we think of as flying saucers, right? We know that this is being used here, and the technology is being taught from heavenly knowledge and technology. So it would make sense that both good and bad sides use these. And then, of course, we have the traditional idea of a whirlwind, like a tornado, starting off, large at the top and then coming down small. But really, like you could say also, it's the golden spiral or the Fibonacci sequence, like you saw in the movie, where it starts off small on the bottom, and as you whirlwind up, it gets larger and larger. And of course, this is symbolic also of our learning, our revelation and knowledge expanding. And it's also example of how the Bible is written, how you go from Genesis to Revelation, and that's why the last book is called Revelation. Because revealing that God opens up your understanding, and from the bottom you start off small, and by the time you're at the top of the whirlwind, you're this big, huge tornado, so to speak, at the top. But at the bottom, in the beginning, it just starts off with a very simple understanding, and it's symbolic of that also.